What up guys, and welcome to another ultimate airdrop guide video. In this video, I'm going to go over Dymension in particular and everything you need to know about staking Dymension and doing different tasks in order to qualify for upcoming airdrops. Without further ado guys, let's get into it. First things first, what exactly is Dymension? Now, if you want a deep dive of Dymension, you can check out my video that I'll post in the description. But for the most part guys, they are providing the infrastructure for these new Rollapps, which almost act like their own blockchain, and they're connected with EVM and Cosmos, and it's honestly super cool. Now, Dymension is very early on still, and there aren't too many projects using Dymension as of yet, but one of the big speculations is that if Dymension becomes a widely used infrastructure and protocol, then all of these different projects that build on Dymension have a chance of airdropping their tokens to people staking Dymension. So if you end up believing in this technology, there could be a lot of airdrops to come, very similar to what we've seen with Celestia so far. To qualify for most airdrops, all you're going to need to do is stake Dymension, but please watch a little bit further in this video because I have a couple of different options. When you go on your Kepler dashboard, or if you go on your Leap wallet, you'll be able to see all of these different validators that you can stake to. In my personal opinion, the best one to stake to right now is actually going to be Prism, because not only is it the minimum 5% fee, but they've already announced that they're going to be doing an airdrop of their token, about 20% of their tokens, to everyone that is delegating to their different nodes. Now, there was some FUD in the past with Prism and people speculating that there isn't actually going to be a token, all of this stuff. I personally don't believe that, and I do think that this is the best option right now. If you don't go with Prism, I'd recommend something like Kepler, because who knows if they end up doing an airdrop in the future. And then also something like Enigma is a good option as well, because they're automatically restaking all the different rewards that you get. As far as the amounts and strategy, a lot of times the lower amount of Dymension you have staked, the higher the upside or the higher the allocation when it comes to these different drops. The flip side is if you stake too little Dymension, you end up in a situation where you might not qualify for any airdrops. So my recommendation has been changing over time since I've really been seeing more and more airdrops. But what I'd recommend is having one main wallet with the bulk amount of your Dymension, and then maybe splitting it up into different categories. So for example, if I had $1,000 worth of Dymension, maybe in one wallet I'm staking $500 worth, and then maybe the other 5 wallets I'm staking $100 worth of each of those wallets. Maybe I even do a situation where one has $500, another one has $250, and then the remainder has a little bit less. That's personally the strategy I'm doing, because the more wallets that you have staked and qualifying for an airdrop, odds are the more amount of actual value you're able to get. But like I said, if you go too low, you might miss out on the airdrops entirely. I would at least have one wallet with 400 to 500 US dollars just to be in that safe range. But if you don't have that much, then I would just stake as much as you can. One important thing to note about these stakes is that it does take 21 days to unstake, so just take that into consideration when it comes to your planning. Another very important thing to do on top of staking is actually going on their main website and doing all their different governance proposals. They've already had 5 different proposals, and we've seen in the past that in order to qualify for certain airdrops, you did have to vote on these proposals. So keep an eye on their main Twitter for whenever they announce a new one. You can also keep an eye on a couple of different Twitters that I'll have in the description that are pretty good at staying on top of these different things. But just make sure that you're doing these proposals. If you miss one or two, hopefully it's not a big deal, but you definitely want to be as consistent as possible just to make sure that wasn't a requirement. I also quickly wanted to show Prism's whole entire airdrop campaign here, where they're saying about 200 million of those tokens are going to the stake drop, where you can earn 10 Prism tokens for every dollar of commission you donate to one of the validators. So this is why I personally recommended Prism, but there are other options out there as well. There's going to constantly be different airdrops that are happening in the Cosmos ecosystem. We actually just heard one from Sputnik, and one of the airdrops that they're going to do is for Dymension stakers. Now, I haven't gone through and personally researched Sputnik yet, but I wanted to bring this up as an example because they are looking for people that are staking their Dymension, and it's important to be paying attention to these different airdrops because some have very limited time frames. And once again, I'll actually have in the description a Twitter account that I think will really help you guys stay on top of this. Now, the next option, if you didn't want to stake with one of those validators, is actually to do liquid staking with Stride. Now, Stride is the largest liquid staking platform in all of Cosmos, and they have different campaigns going on, such as Celestia with their ST-TIA, and they also have one with ST-DYM, where they're giving a percentage of their Stride tokens to people that are liquid staking with them. What's really nice is that you still get the same exact APY as a lot of those other stakers. At any point in time, you can actually sell your ST-DYM without without having that 21-day unlock period, even though oftentimes it's a little bit worth less than regular DIM, usually between 5% from what I've seen in order to get that instant liquidity. And then sometimes you might not actually qualify for different airdrops because you're liquid staking. Now, I've seen a lot of times that airdrops actually qualify. We saw with AltLayer, with Celestia, the most recent airdrop, actually pay attention to people that are on Stride. And when I'm on the Dymension site, when they have all their different farms and liquidity pools, they have a pool for DIM as well as ST-DIM. So I think a lot of them will actually qualify for Stride. And if that's the case, then this is by far the best option over those other validators. But just keep in mind, this may or may not qualify you for some. What this will get you, though, is guaranteed Stride tokens at the end of the campaign, as well as that APY. So I'd at least have some of your money into this because this is the best deal out there. You can also see here that they posted on March 18th that you can have this ST-DIM on any of the following chains. So you can have it on Stride, Dymension, Osmosis, or Neutron. And you can also have it in some of the different liquidity pools. And this is going to help you qualify for their Stride token, which at the time was 130% APR. It's definitely a lot lower than that. I haven't calculated, but I'm guessing it's still above 30 to 40% on top of the main staking APY you're getting. Now on to some of the other airdrops that are happening that we know of so far. And I want to say that this is still very early with Dymension. So a lot of the projects that are building on here are just kind of crummy projects, or we haven't heard any major big names really building on Dymension as of yet. So it's very early, but one of the ones that have already been announced and already claimable if you've been staking your Dymension before March 9th is called Nim Network. You can actually go on their main Twitter. I'll have it in the description once again, and you can go to their claim portal, and it didn't matter how much Dymension you were staking, you are able to claim in a pro rata, and the max cap was actually 2,000 Dymension tokens. So this is why, once again, I like to split up my wallets, because if you had, let's say, 3,000 Dymension tokens staked and you're a baller, then all of a sudden you wouldn't actually have been able to qualify for the max amount of tokens. For this Genesis roll drop, they're actually taking 9% of their supply, or 90 million tokens, and 50 million of that is going directly towards people that were staking Dymension. And you can go on their site within this next week. I believe April 4th is the deadline, and claim your tokens if you haven't already. The remainder of the tokens are actually going to different gaming and AI projects such as Parallel, Pirate Nation, Today Game, as well as other NFT projects out there such as Pudgy Penguins. And one of the main reasons that they've been giving tokens to some of these different protocols is they're building a whole entire AI gaming infrastructure in their platform, and they already have a couple of these different games that are going to be using their infrastructure, such as Ocean Protocol, OLAS Network, and Gitcoin. I'll have in the description an article where you can learn a little bit more about their project, because this isn't a deep dive on NIM. This is more so how to actually claim this airdrop, which is super simple in this situation, but it looks like this is one of the most hyped ones to come, and you can already claim it if you were staking your Dymension. The next one here that has been confirmed is actually called Dogmond Coin, and this is from the Chihuahua meme coin team that already has their meme coin out there. And about 40% of all of their new tokens, which is going to be the first dog meme coin on the Dymension network, is going to go to people that are staking their Dymension. Now you can go through their whole entire Dogmond coin. I have no idea what this is going to do. It's nice that this is actually the first one out there, and that the Chihuahua team has been pretty relevant, or has been around for a while on the other Cosmos chains. I'm not expecting this one to go absolutely crazy, but we are able to claim these tokens for free, so it's worth you following their account and making sure you don't miss that claim window, because like I said, sometimes these claim windows can be very short, and you can miss out on a lot of money simply because you weren't paying attention. You can see in their forum page, they gave a little bit more information about what this coin is actually going to be. It's the first meme coin roll-up. It's called Dogmond with the symbol DGM, and they're going to be giving 40% of their tokens to DIM stakers, as I had said. We don't know the exact metrics as of yet. Another 40% is going to go to stakers of their current meme token, another 10% towards the Dymension community pool, and another 10% to the Chihuahua community pool. And it's saying that this DGM is going to be the main currency for all the transactions on this Rollapp, or on this network that they're creating. Their current Chihuahua token actually has a market cap of $20.5 million. So I'm expecting that this new token they come out with to do something similar, or maybe even do better, simply because of how much hype is around different projects that are launching on Dymension. I mean, some of these different posts are getting millions of views, which is ridiculous. I think one of the posts from Nim literally had 2.5 million impressions. So there's definitely a lot of eyes that see these airdrops and projects that are building on Dymension. And I think that's going to spark more projects to actually build using their infrastructure. Another exciting new project to have your eyes on is actually called Rivalz Network, and it's an AI-driven data provenance D-pin rollup powered by Dymension with Celestia org underneath. Now, they only have one post on their Twitter, and once again, they have 545,000 impressions, and this is what I'm saying with Dymension. For whatever reason, there are so many eyes on the different projects that are early on in building AI in gaming. So they're definitely trying to tap into some of these big narratives for the first Rollapps that are out there. And I'm sure some of these projects and teams are getting incentivized from the Dymension team to build on their network. There is one important thing that you have to do in order to potentially qualify for this airdrop, and that's go to their bottom of the site and click I found the alpha. And then when you click on that, they're going to have all these different Galaxy tasks that you can complete. So you can follow their Twitter, join their Discord, join their Telegram, like a tweet. I'm not really sure how to do this first one. I'm still messing around with it. It doesn't really give you any tasks to do. So maybe this is one that's sort of just pending. And then you can also refer more people to participate in the campaign. So I'm going to have the referral link from me in the YouTube description if you want to use that. If you don't want to use that, you can simply go on their site and find that link at the bottom of their page. Outside of completing that task, I haven't really seen anything you can do yet, but just have them on your radar because they definitely have a lot of hype on it already. Another project that I want to bring up is called Avail, and this is very similar to what Celestia is doing with their whole entire data modularity as well as data availability sampling. And they're going to be providing a lot of these different L2s, even Bitcoin L2s, with this data availability and really cutting down their costs significantly. Now, one of the things I actually want to make up a follow video on is Celestia and Avail and EigenLayer and how they're all trying to cut down the cost of this data availability. But one of the interesting things is with the recent Ethereum upgrade, where most of these L2s are on Ethereum anyways, they actually introduced blob space, which has cut down the cost significantly. So there are different protocols or blockchains out there, such as Base, that have gone through with this upgrade and cut costs by 10x. Now, supposedly Celestia and Avail are going to be cheaper still, and supposedly there's a lot more interoperability rather than just Ethereum. But this, in a sense, does devalue some of these different other infrastructures. And it's one of those things where instead of Base using Celestia or Avail, now all of a sudden they're just using the blob space in this past Ethereum upgrade. So it's pretty interesting. I haven't really sold too much of my TIA right now, but it is on my radar just because I do think this devalues some of the potential of these different projects. Now, the reason I did want to bring up Avail anyways is because they have been building for a while now, and there's a very high likelihood that we are going to get an airdrop as Dymension stakers from Avail. The reason is because Dymension uses either Celestia or Avail or Near, for example, in order to provide data availability to their different Rollapps. And a lot of times whenever a project is using another project's infrastructure, one of the ways they kind of pay them back is giving an airdrop. And this has actually already been teased multiple times. So definitely keep an eye on Avail. This is probably going to be the most profitable airdrop on my radar for Dymension stakers. And this will probably lead to the biggest amount of bucks. I have no idea if the snapshot has already been taken or not for this, but definitely keep your eyes on this one because, like I said, I think this is going to be the biggest one for Dymension that's at least on my radar. That pretty much summarizes a lot of what we know right now. Like I said in the beginning of the video, there isn't too much you can do besides stake your Dymension and pay attention to some of the new ones coming up and just making sure you don't miss the windows to claim and making sure you do your different governance votes. The biggest thing that I recommend is to actually follow this Twitter called Airdrops1 that I'll have in the description because they've been very good about posting all the different airdrop opportunities happening in the Cosmos ecosystem, including the Hall token that I just talked about in my Injective Airdrops guide video if you want to go watch that because there's some alpha in there for sure. But regardless, I would definitely pay attention to this airdrops account. Like I said in the beginning of this video, we just saw Nim Network say that they're going to be doing an airdrop to Dymension stakers as well as Injective stakers and a few different other Cosmos tokens. And this was actually how I found out first about that upcoming airdrop. Another great account to follow is Wendy J. She does a great job at posting about all these different airdrops, as well as giving additional more in-depth guides. And then the last thing I would do is actually join the block Discord that's going to be in the description, opening up a support ticket and asking for a trial pass. We try to cover these different airdrops as well as upcoming opportunities as much as we can. And as a community and a group, a lot of times we can find these pretty insane plays that you can't find as easily on yourself, as well as get analysis from me and other individuals in the space that have a lot of experience with these different things and give pretty good predictions on how these different tokens are going to play out. But that pretty much wraps up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want some more airdrop guide content, as well as breakdowns and analysis of different upcoming plays and opportunities happening in the broader crypto space. And with that, I'll catch y'all later.